Mr. Chairman. Ms. Pryor, U.S. aid to the region is pretty heavily focused on foreign military sales, but it's the region's young population, which is a very dynamic one, that is going to determine the future of the region. Talk a little bit about the development goals the U.S. is focused on in this region, and particularly with respect to programs that might affect young people.
Thank you. Yes, we are deeply concerned that half the population of the region is under the age of 30. So they could be a destructive force or a great force for change. So we are focusing on the latter. We are doing extensive work in getting scholarships to needy students in the region, developing their skills to enable them to be able to get jobs. And then also there is a real entrepreneurial spirit amongst youth in the region. I had the opportunity last fall in Iraq to visit young people who are not waiting on the public sector. They are going out and starting their own businesses. And so we are working hard to try and make sure that they get the technical assistance and know-how in setting up a business, and then also access to financing to make their dreams a reality. Also, we are supporting civil society, and youth are actively engaged in civil society throughout the region. Again, you know, to help them advocate for change within their own countries. Thank you.
Secretary Leaf, let me ask you this. The President's budget makes a $271 million request for partnerships with Iraq. And that puts Iraq on par with some of our closest global partners. Together with the ranking member, Senator Young, and many others, Senator Murphy, we have advocated for the repeal of the Iraq war authorizations on the grounds that a partner is not an enemy. And we're now in a position, thank goodness, I mean, it's a tribute to both U.S. investment and Iraqi magnanimity. We're a partner, and Iraq is playing and can continue to play a really important role in the region. If you could talk about the strategic goal for this particular request and the partnership, the security partnership we have with Iraq, please.
Certainly, Senator, it's a great question, and I will just say I've been to Iraq twice in the last 6 or 7 months, and even in that period, I've seen some real dynamic change to the good, much like Jeannie discussed. This sort of economic vitality for this first time is really evident in that country, and I've been going to Iraq since 2010. Strategically, what I would say is our approach to Iraq is, Alina Romanowski, our brilliant ambassador out there, puts it as it's a 360-degree relationship. It's no longer the singular security CT mill relationship. It's full spectrum. I also like to think of another analogy, which is that Iraq is a keystone state. It's a keystone in the arch of regional security and stability. So what is good within Iraq in terms of its achievement of security, stability, and greater sovereignty, internal and external, what's good for Iraq then becomes good for certainly the near neighborhood, but for the broader region. So our FMF relationship is solid and strong, and I think over the course of time has brought some really significant results, to the point that we are far away from the days of 2014 when we saw that just calamitous collapse of parts of the Iraqi security forces in the face of waves of ISIS fighters. We're a long way from that, to the point where the Iraqi Air Force can itself do counter-ISIS missions. The Iraqi security forces can hold territory that they've cleared of ISIS fighters. They're a more professional force. They're increasingly capable. But we're in it for the long game, both on the sort of civilian economic side of things, and then in terms of our security assistance. And it's a complex partnership, I will say, and things don't change under just one prime minister or one government. But we're seeing Iraq lean into the regional integration, which is also a hallmark of our approach, is to encourage in both directions, the neighborhood to embrace Iraq and Iraq to embrace the neighborhood.
Thank you for that. And just two comments as I close. We've now gone more than 2 years without Senate-confirmed counterterrorism coordinator, even as terrorism networks grow and expand around the globe, and they remain a threat not only to our partners, but to the United States, to Israel, many other nations. The nominee for the position, the Biden administration's nominee, Elizabeth Richard, is a highly qualified FSO. This committee has cleared her twice, once in the 117th Congress and now again in the 118th, and I would really hope we could get her confirmed on the floor because this is a bill that is very important. And then lastly, if I could just say to you, Secretary Leaf, I'm really worried about Hezbollah's networks in Latin America. I'm the chair of the Americas subcommittee, so I spend a lot of time in the Americas, but as I do, I hear more and more and more about activities of Hezbollah and other Middle East-based organizations, terrorist organizations, and they're getting, their level of activity in the Americas is picking up. So I would just encourage coordination between, your section and Secretary Assistant Secretary Nichols' section.
I will certainly do so.
Great, thank you. I yield back, Mr. Chair.